In the world, there are all kinds of people, tall people, short people, cheerful or gloomy ones, and also people who slip on a banana peel. This is how our protagonist catches a girl and asks her if she's okay. The girl, very nervous, tries to apologize and then runs away. Our protagonist, taken aback, says that she didn't have to run, though he's already used to it. He tells us that when he was in 4th grade, he grew 30 centimeters. Now, he's 1.90 meters tall and says he has stiff facial muscles. He also has a scar on his face from when he was a child, but because of it, everyone thinks he's terrifying. In middle school, rumors started to spread that he had knocked out 30 delinquents with just a look like he had a king's hockey. Because of this, the poor guy hasn't been able to make any friends. But he tries not to get depressed, telling himself that today is his first day of high school. You only live your youth once, so he'll do his best to have a good time. The protagonist then enters his classroom, but to his surprise, the banana girl is in the same class. Even worse, he's seated next to her. The girl notices the protagonist looking at her and gets very scared. Just then, the teacher arrives and congratulates them on getting in, asking them to introduce themselves. A girl named Ria Katao introduces herself and says her hobby is playing the piano. The next boy, Shunta Ro Hayami, says he will fight to get to the national basketball tournament. Another student, Motoi Ganda, says his favorite subjects are science and math. Finally, a girl named Izumi Nishiochi says she just wants to focus on her studies. Finally, it's our protagonist's turn. He wants to take it easy and smile kindly, hoping to make some friends. His name is Sada Fushioka, and he says he has been preparing with visualization and will try to show what he's practiced. He says it's a pleasure to meet them and asks them to please take care of him. But with that face, it's logical that everyone is surprised and terrified. Sada then realizes that his face was more rigid than usual, confessing that his sister always scolds him for the same thing. Now it's the banana girl's turn. Her name is Kozuru Shimahashizaki, and she says she unfortunately can't say it's a pleasure, so she's sorry. Everyone is also surprised, and Sada thinks that by saying that, it's as if she doesn't want to get along with anyone. Saying that the banana girl is quite peculiar, he confesses that from that day on, he started watching Kozuru without knowing why. He has noticed that she always seems scared and arrives at school with injuries almost every day. If someone speaks to her suddenly, she panics and then apologizes in a quiet voice. She even sometimes arrives with mismatched socks. Sada can't help but think that she's a bit. At that moment, he overhears some guys talking and saying that Sada is a bit weird. The guys, a little annoyed, say that by the way she acts, it seems like they are the ones bothering her. Sada admits that Kozuru is a bit weird, but he wonders if it's necessary for them to say it like that. He then finds himself in front of them, and the very scared guys let him pass. The next day, in class, we see that Kozuru seems to be looking for something in her backpack. The teacher wants someone to start reading and asks her to please do it. Kozuru, all nervous, tries to quickly get her book out, but due to the pressure, she gets scared, and the book flies out the window. Sada can't believe what just happened. The teacher asks Kozuru to hurry up and asks her if she forgot her book, since it seems that because they are seated in the back, no one noticed what happened. The teacher then scolds her, saying those things need to be said beforehand. Kozuru, all nervous, tries to apologize, but then Sada quickly moves his desk next to hers and, with a grim expression, tells her they can share his book if she wants. After classes end, he says he feels quite tired. He tells us that after this, he tried to help Kozuru look for her book, but she, all scared, tells him not to worry and runs away. Sada, feeling sad, thinks that after all, he can't help but scare people, so he'd better try not to talk so much from now on. Then he hears noises in a bush. It's Kozuru, who is looking for her book. When she sees Sada, she gets scared again. She literally looks like a cat, the narrator says with a laugh. Sada tells her that she did find her book, and then tells her he still can't believe what happened, assuring that if someone had recorded it, it would surely be viral. Then Sada remembers that he had promised not to talk so much, so he says goodbye, saying he's glad she found her book. But just as he is about to leave, Kozuru shouts for him to wait. Sada is surprised, saying that she could talk loudly after all. Kozuru, all nervous, asks him why he helped her today. Sada says that he doesn't think he helped her. Kozuru tells him that when the teacher scolded her, she wanted to apologize, but then Sada got in between. So she asks him why he did it. Sada tells her that he did it because he thought she hadn't done anything wrong, so he didn't think it was necessary for her to apologize. Kozuru wonders if she really didn't do anything wrong. Sada tells her that she didn't actually forget the book and that he thought they wouldn't have believed her if she said what really happened. Also, since he sits next to her, he has seen how she always tries her best, assuring her that there's nothing wrong with that. Upon hearing this, Kozuru can't help but start crying and tells him that she always ends up ruining everything. Since she was a child, she has always been very clumsy and says that she's really no good for anything. The more she tries, the worse things turn out. So, at the very least, she wants to avoid involving others. That's why, even though she feels lonely, she decided to continue like this since she thinks everything is her fault. That's why she said those things during her class introduction. But even so, she is happy because Sada told her today that she tries hard. He made her realize that there are people who can think that way about her. She then tells us what really happened on the day they met. She was trying to avoid a puddle and didn't see the banana peel. But he ended up saving her, and she still ran away. Sada asks her if she didn't run away because he scared her. Since he is very tall and has an intimidating face, he thought he had frightened her. Kozuru tells him that she doesn't think he's terrifying. In fact, she thinks he's quite kind. Sada, surprised, says that no one outside of his family had ever told him something like that. He then thinks he should thank her, but we can see how Kozuru can't stop being scared every time someone talks to her. Sada tells her that his goal in high school is to enjoy his youth, so if she doesn't mind, he asks if she would like to enjoy it with him. Since he thinks that being alone is sad, and even worse thinking that everything is your fault. So what he really wants to ask her is if she wants to be his friend. Kozuru gets so happy that she even starts to fly, the narrator describes with a laugh. She then accepts. At that moment, a ball is about to hit Sada in the face, but Kozuru jumps to cover him, taking the hit herself. Sada is worried about the huge blow, asking her why she did it. It would have been better if she had warned him, and he could have dodged it. Kozuru agrees but tells him that at that moment she didn't think and just acted, ruining everything again. But this time it doesn't matter, because she managed to protect a friend. Sada is smitten and wonders what this feeling he's experiencing is. The chapter ends with him saying that he finally has a friend, and even though she sometimes makes mistakes, Kozuru is a kind person who tries very hard. Later, Sada is lying on his bed, saying he can't believe he made a friend. Although he is happy, he then worries, asking what friends are supposed to do. How is he supposed to treat her so as not to make her uncomfortable, since we see that Kozuru is the first friend he has ever had? The next day, we see Sada at school. He is quite sleep-deprived as he says he couldn't sleep much from thinking so hard. He then enters the classroom and sees that Kozuru is already there. Sada greets her, but as we know, she is very shy, and upon seeing him, she gets scared, ending up getting tangled in the curtain. Sada then gets worried and wonders if Kozuru is avoiding him, but she confesses that she is actually hiding from him. As we see, just like Sada, Kozuru has never had friends either and doesn't know how she should treat them. Kozuru then tells him that because of this, she has decided to observe Sada. By doing so, she gets to know his habits, likes, and hobbies. And she thinks that's the best way to build a good relationship. Sada, a little surprised, ends up accepting, and we see Kozuru very happy, saying she will do her best. Then she tells him that she will dedicate herself to collecting data on him for a while, asking him not to worry about her and to treat her like a wall or something that is simply there. Sada asks her if it would be better not to talk to her for a while. Kozuru says yes, so that she can have the highest accuracy in the data she obtains, saying that when she finishes gathering it, she will give him a sign. And so the days began to pass, where we can see Kozuru observing and following Sada everywhere. And even though he was a bit embarrassed by how obvious Kozuru was, how could he say anything to her with that beautiful face she has? Obviously, I just thought that last part, guys, lol. In reality, Sada decided to let her, since she seemed to be having fun. Afterwards, we see him writing something in a notebook, as he says he also wants to find a way to get along with Kozuru. The next day, we see Sada arriving at school, and while he is taking his shoes from his locker, he notices that a letter has been left for him. We see that in the letter, he is being summoned to the schoolyard, so Sada wonders if it might be from Kozuru and runs off to meet her. But we see that the ones waiting for him were these guys with not-so-friendly faces. We can quickly see that Sada doesn't know them, and we realize that these guys are actually the school's group of bullies. They had heard rumors about Sada, claiming he was a man so strong he could defeat 50 bullies at the same time, even earning the nickname, the Master of Hand-to-Hand Combat. But as we know, this is a lie, and we can see that Sada is very scared, even begging for someone to help him. However, we can see that all the other students also believe the rumors about him and think he can handle it on his own. But as I said before, all those rumors are false, and Sada is a very introverted boy who really likes puzzles. Sada confesses that he has never even hit anyone or been in a fight, but we see that he thinks that even if he tells them, no one will believe him because of his appearance. And he knows that not everyone can be like Kozuru. Then one of the guys is about to punch him, and Sada just stands there, very scared. But then, we see Kozuru appear, running with a cone on her head. She throws herself onto the guy, knocking him down, and leaving him on the ground. Obviously, everyone present is very surprised, and Kozuru, somewhat nervous, says that she is totally against using violence. Everyone who hears her just stares in terror. Sada then asks Kozuru if she is okay. She says yes, and then tells him that she was very surprised when she saw those guys were about to hit him. Sada, very worried, then tries to explain what happened to Kozuru, as he doesn't want her to misunderstand him like everyone else. But we see that before Sada can say anything, Kozuru interrupts him and tells him that she knows he is very kind. She was able to confirm this by observing and seeing firsthand all the good deeds he did. So, she doesn't care what others say about him. She knows that Sada is a very kind person. But she also thinks that if more guys like the ones before keep showing up, Sada will get involved. And even though she knows she is very small and a bit silly, she still wants to take responsibility for protecting him. After hearing this, Sada is surprised, as he can't believe how hard Kozuru tries. Although we see that afterwards he starts laughing like crazy, since, according to him, this is the nicest thing that has ever happened to him. But we also see that the guys from before misunderstand everything again and think he is laughing because of his ego, considering himself the strongest, so they run away from the place, very scared. Kozuru, very embarrassed after this, apologizes to Sada for saying something so strange, but we see that he just looks at her, blushing, and thanks her for protecting him. Sada then looks at her very embarrassed and starts to laugh somewhat nervously. Sada then asks her if she has finished her investigation about him. She says yes, that she has a whole report about him noted in her notebook. Sada then also takes out a notebook and confesses that he also wrote something about her, as we see that he thinks he wants to be as strong as Kozuru. And so, friends, here ends the second chapter of this manga. Don't forget that if you like this type of content, you can help me with a like and by subscribing to the channel. Also, don't forget that, as always, I will leave the name of the manga pinned in the comments, in case you want to go read it yourselves. And well, that's it.